Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Side by Side Racing Series Season 5, Round 13. I am, of course, HardyF1, and I am joined today by the lovable and wonderful TwinBarrelJay. How are you, Jay?
I'm very well, my friend. Looking forward to this one. Getting close now, free to go.
Is that all it is, free to go? Jeez, this season has flown by so quick, but there's been action all over the place. Of course, the unfortunately Rage can't be here tonight, so of course I'm back in the commentary box after last week's event in Singapore. So let's get into the standings then straight away then, while the drivers get on their warm-up lap, and then they'll be going for it. So we'll go straight to the top 10, courtesy, thank you, provided by Safso. So Jesper then right at the top still for the Alpine driver on 169 points. And really close, Yonti in P2 currently on 163 points. So really close, there only a 6-point gap there with 3 to go as well. It's just all to play for. And then Liam not far behind on 119 points in the Aston Martin. So top 3 really close, and of course anything can and does tend to happen in side by side. And then of course we've got Ben and RF. I mean, just Recycle Finn doing a great job there in the Red Bull team. Ben not here tonight, unfortunately. He did say he wasn't able to race. But, I mean, 109 points to 101. They're doing a great job for the constructors. Torres in P6, Beaker P7, Polka P8, Pooley P9, and then Maki running out the top 10. So if we go from the top 10 then to the rest of the grid then, nice and simple then. So Yokia Dragon is in P11 on 36 points. He's having a great season, actually, considering the past few seasons. Hasn't been quite lucky with the points going his way, so this season he's actually doing quite a good job with Krista in P12, Tristan P13, Harv actually doing quite well, getting some points in P14, and then Marco might be joining later in P15 with 17 points. Andrews, who joined not too long ago, in 16th with 4 points. Bill, who isn't here unfortunately, a first person without any points. Jaxie P18, who does have a qualifying ban today, so he will not be taking part because he was meant to have served that last race, but Rage unfortunately forgot, so he didn't serve it then. And then Pato is at the back unfortunately in P19. And then if we get into the team points then, so constructors, so Alpine still leading the way out in front with a huge 264 points, and then Mercedes only about 30 points or so away in P2. So Yonti and Beaker really need to work together to bring that back, to put the pressure onto Alpine. With Red Bull, I mean, RF and Ben actually doing a quite good job of 201 points. So if Ben was here, they Recycle Finn really needs him here to score as many points as possible. Then Aston Martin do best of the rest, I'd say, in P4. Alfa Romeo P5, keeping them on their toes. Williams doing a good job in P6, battling out with Ferrari P7, then McLaren, Haas, and Alpha Tauri. So what do you expect to happen today then in qualifying, Jay?
I don't know. I don't think that we've been able to predict it all the way through the season, and I'm not expecting us to today. Obviously, one eye will be on those two title contenders between Jesper and Yonti. With only 6 points between them and 75 still up for grabs, it's anybody's game. But considering how the complaints have been about the curbs here on this year's game, I would expect a bit of drama in qualifying.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm going to ride on board now with Yonti as he comes into Sector 1. He's actually invalidated, so he's not happy, actually. So we'll go on board with his teammate Beaker. And you can just see the curbs in Sector 1. They just seem so much more lethal this year. You literally put a tyre on the wrong part of that curb and you're just going straight to the scene of the accident, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely. And that could spoil a few quali runs, but more importantly, they're going to be on edge every time through the S's in the race itself, especially when they're on heavy fuel. So, yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see a few people either avoiding action on those curbs or falling foul of them in the race or indeed in qualifying. But yeah, Jesper up the top at the moment then, but only a couple of attempts back to Mackie. And then Finn. Shame Ben's not hit. You know, Red Bull ever seems to have some of the best pace over the last few races. But, you know, with one hand tied behind their back with only one of them running, I would say it's probably them out of that Constructors race, but it's still very close between Alpine and Mercedes as well. So,
yeah, absolutely.
We'll see how Yonti and Beaker can get on as well.
So speaking of Beaker then, he comes into the final chicane then, gets a nice entry into that corner and actually quite a nice decent exit there. So this should be a decent lap, should be, I think, a 128.9 at the most, 128.8, so actually P2. So quite a good lap there, but still definitely a bit more time for him to find, probably in the first sector. So I think he's taking the course just a little bit out there, but he'll definitely find a bit more speed as the session progresses then.
Yep, these are just the opening gambits from our competitors. They'll be, well, taking a very wide line there, Beaker, but I think that's because he's on in lap. Yeah, just the opening efforts. They just want to get times on the board. I would expect them to tumble, but yeah, we'll see where Yonti is. Obviously had to abandon that first run. Got the likes of Liam also to put in times, and Andrews had great pace the last few races as well, if not the luck in the race. So interesting to see where he ends up once the times go in.
Yeah, it'd be great to see where Andrews actually ends up, because obviously I was his teammate last race for that one race in Singapore, so he did have a lot of great pace as Recycle Finn now abandons his lap and comes in. So we're right on board with Liam then. So Liam, ever the bridesmaid, in P5 at the moment, on a 129.4, needs to find about a second on this track. So as a Suzuka specialist, as we used to say, as yourself, Jay, is there any secret to this track where you can really exploit it to gain a lot of time, that you might be able to lean on some corners in some areas maybe?
No, it's all about getting into the flow for that first sector. So, you know, the first corner pretty much flats out, and then it's picking your point to come off down the gears into turn one, keeping the car nice and balanced through the S's, making sure that you're not overdoing any of the corners before. You need to get into the next corner at the right angle at the right speed. And the S's, although they are 4 or 5 corners, they are essentially one section. You muck up on one part of it, and you pretty much compromise for the rest of it. And then the second key area is probably the final chicane. You arrive there on maybe the best lap you've done, and you can throw it all away on that final one, spotting your braking point and threading it through there, and then getting the traction right on the exit through the tricky bump that I think is actually gone this year from this game.
Yeah, I believe that bump has gone, but I mean, of course, that final chicane is one hell of an overtaking place. I mean, we've seen it work out well before in the past, especially in side-by-side, and we have seen it in actual Formula 1 as well. You can forget Ayrton Senna and Prost of their epic battle in the 90s, of course. So there's definitely places around here for overtaking to happen. So it's going to be probably a hectic race from start to finish, of course. So I think it's going to be as well, I believe someone said it's going to be a wet race. So a lot of drivers expect them all to go out on soft tyres for these runs, because they're not going to be expecting to see them at the start of the race. But it could go from wet to dry. And I mean, tyre wear, if it does go dry, is pretty high, I believe, around here. I do think that in a dry situation, you go on to mediums probably if you're starting outside the top 10, if you haven't got a lot to risk it for. But given the fact it's going to be wet, it does add that extra challenge to the Suzuka track, because as you said, that sector 1 is so risky as well, because you need to rely on those curves to gain speed. But if you put even a millimetre wrong, and you're just going to be straight into the barriers. So it's as if the drivers didn't want enough problems to deal with. But of course, we try and get these drivers as much practice, as much time as they have to prepare for this. So we'll see what they can do. As Jonty now going through the sector actually looks really well together. Actually, great speed carrying it through there, and get a nice good exit onto this little part of the track now. And just you can see him now coming into the Degners, and he's just carrying that speed so well, and just flicks the car through, and that is great amount of grip there. He's got a good front end on that car, and the car is just doing exactly what he wanted to do, it seems. There's no complaints from that Mercedes.
Yeah, no, he won't have liked the fact that first run put him on the back foot, but looks like he's going to be rectifying that now. Andrews had a bit of a contact with a barrier as he returns to the pits, as Jackson pointed out. But yeah, with a wet race, it means they can go hell for leather in qualifying, but there might be some people that are hedging their bets on setup as well. You've got the option for going for a slightly better dry, as we see the Mercedes towing each other again here. The teamwork.
Once again, the great teamwork, great spot there. So yeah, it just shows you how much that they're trying to get as much performance as they can out of them. We do see time and time again that the Mercedes boys do love to try and get that teamwork strategy to work well. So we'll see how much that tow is worth. I mean, this looks like a very good lap from Yonti, but we'll put him on pole. It does actually, at 128.4, so 2 tenths per second faster than Jesper. So if that draft in there was just great for him, so it does get him pole. But now he's going to have to return that service back to Bika to try and get his teammate ahead of Jesper. So we'll see if he can return service and help his teammate out massively there.
Yeah, Jesper, of course, fighting with one hand behind his back with no other Alpines in this race, which is not great for the constructors, but also, as we saw there, doesn't have a teammate to help him out in the way Bika did Yonti. But yeah, both of them looking very quick at the moment, and that was a super lap from Yonti. I think even without that tow, that would have been good enough for pole. But
and Polkat actually retired as he crashed out, or was he retired on track? I believe he's
sure.
There's yellow flag after Degner too. We do have a Mercedes going up to it. I think it was Yonti going past it. I think he's just stopped on the side of the track. We'll go on board with Pulu, now his teammate, and we'll see if the car is still there. It's still on the map. It is actually gone, actually, as we get to there, unfortunately. So he might have just...
I mean, Jesper's improved massively.
Yeah, Jesper has actually got that is a blinding lap, a 128.1. Fantastic pace there from Jesper.
And then Finn slotting into P3. I don't know if you saw in chat, Yaya was looking for an invite.
Yes, I will get that sorted. I just need to do that 1 second.
But yeah, Finn splitting 2 Mercedes then, and then Jesper finding that's almost half a second on his previous attempt. So has Jonty got anything to return? If he does need to return that toe to Beaker, I don't know if he'll be wanted to now, as he needs to go out for another run. Beaker on his hot lap at the moment, see if he can improve. Although I doubt he'll want to displace his teammate. But if he can get himself ahead of Jesper, then I'm sure Jonty wouldn't mind. 2 Aston Martins in 5th and 6th. Liam a little bit off Mackie. That's a great time from Mackie. Into the 28s. And has another run to improve on that. But yeah, unlucky for Polecat. He's still got a decent lap in, so it's not the end of the world. But I'm sure he won't be too happy being out-qualified by Pulu, who will have another good lap there in P7 as well.
Yeah, and Pulu, of course, started the show last time out in Singapore with that last lap. I mean, was it 7 overtakes, I think, I calculated at the end, where he went from, I think, nearly last to P4 after a penalty. So great job from Pulu. So if he's leading the way again for the Alfa Romeo team with his teammate just right behind P8, that's a great job there for the Alfa Romeo team. So we'll see what they can do in the race, because Pulu loves a wet race as well, so he is the Rheinmeister himself, so he'll be definitely sniffing an opportunity if he feels he can get the jump on Liam in the wet race. So that'll be very interesting to see. Of course, Jesper then, if he does take pole and Jonty and Beaker are right behind him, it's going to be 2 Mercedes versus the lone Alpine. That is not an uncomfortable place to be in for the likes of Jesper, but we know Jesper can handle the pressure, so this is preparing it for a lovely fight to watch out for the race.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think in the ones that I've been commentating so far, I haven't seen a wet race. So is there generally, apart from Pulu's obviously specialism as the Rheinmeister, but how does the form normally fall on the guys at the top there? Or are they all sort of...
yeah, so expect a lot of chaos, as always. It's always
I expect
chaos.
that naturally anyway.
There are a lot of movers and shakers, as the great Rage F1 will say. It does put the cat among the pigeons, and you will see the likes of... You will see the mistakes do come out, and you will see the likes of unexpected results. So you may see, from the races that I've seen with the wet races, you might see the likes of Half pull out a storming performance, and you may see those at the front just struggling, trying to keep up a performance of the pressure of trying not to get anything wrong, and then suddenly someone who you think is comfortable in the lead is suddenly lost half a front wing, because the concentration is just so hard to keep it up for the entire race. So, but it is a great battle to see when you're seeing 2 drivers right at the front in the wet, just trying not to give anyone even an inch. It's brilliant to see the wet races.
Yeah, it's just an added dynamic to this championship battle, doesn't it? While they need to fight each other and fight for every point with only 3 races to go, there is going to be that element of jeopardy of just wanting to see the checkered flag and not losing too much to their rivals, and that's where some of the guys like Beaker and Finn and Maku and Liam could spring a surprise behind as those guys start thinking about points now.
Yeah, as I said as well, Yuki has gone out on mediums, so if it is going to be a wet race, then the mediums is not the type to be on for this qualifying, unless he just accepts he doesn't want to be in the top 10. And maybe he wants to save a set of soft tyres actually for maybe later in the race. Maybe the predictions, because obviously we don't get him in the commentary box, maybe it will dry up towards the end. If he's got a spare set of soft tyres and can keep up with the rest of the pack, and we know Yuki being I think he is the oldest driver on the grid and has a lot of experience in sim racing, then he is going to be trying to use that wise old head to try and gain an advantage, and that could work out actually massively for him. So that could be a good strategy. So keep an eye out for Yuki.
Yeah, as you say, we don't really know yet as to where and when the rain is in the race. It could be a dry start, but then I would expect to see a few more on mediums. So I think with everybody on softs apart from Yuki, that suggests it is going to be wet from the beginning. As Jaxie does confirm that it's a wet race the whole race. So also, we'll bring into account what kind of setups the guys are on, and is it an inter or wet start? We will find out. But first, we got a minute and a half left to see who will put themselves on pole position for the Japanese Grand Prix. So we've got Yonti starting a lap now. Jesper has started his lap, but that's a bit slow. He might be out the pits. Not sure. Got a yellow flag in sector 1 for Haas of Andrews, I think that is. Or might have been Frosty. Doing a bit of grass cutting over the barriers. And yeah. Front 4 have all, and Beaker's gone. Beaker's gone at the end of the S's. That'll be his attempt gone then.
Shame for Beaker then.
Yep, so clipping one of those famous curbs, I think there. I just caught the tail end of it, but yeah, that's the peril they've got over there in this year's game. So I think Jesper is just... Oh, Jesper's lost it as well, going into turn 1, starting his lap then, so he will not be getting a further lap in, so it's all over to Yonti, who
Yonti's backed off.
Seems to be going slow, so...
Yeah, I think Yonti was going to give Bicker the toe, because Bicker's just had that incident, and that's not going to work out for them, so... I mean, so it looks like now with Maka,
yeah. On a lap, Liam on a lap, Finn might be on a lap currently.
Yeah, I think Finn's up as well in his time by a little bit as well, so it's going to be really close. I'm not sure if it would be close enough for pole, but I think it is going to be good enough for possibly P2 here, so we'll stay on board with Finn. And we'll see him as he approaches 130R now. There's a little bit of traffic ahead, so as long as they keep it nice and clean, he should be able to get through it nice and easily and get to actually get a good little toe here from Bicker. Bicker does not want to be giving anyone a toe, especially Finn, who can keep it a nice little exit here. So
he's giving him a toe all the way down the straight.
Interesting. P3 for Finn as it stands, so he did gain 1 place on Bicker, so that is not helpful for Bicker.
Same time as Yonti.
I don't know, I think Bicker's got another chance. I think we've got the glitch clock again, unfortunately, so I think Bicker does actually get another chance to go again, as he now has Marco's AI in front of him, so he might gain a little tiny toe, but in the wrong spot, because just look how much it compromises him in Sector 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is all over. There was nothing he could do, because that was just the AI of Marco.
That's super unfortunate. So won't get a lap in there. Jesper is in
we'll
the
see now Maki crossing the line, but I don't think he's going to go any faster. No, he must have backed off, because that was a dreadful lap of Maki. And Liam is... I think, yeah, Liam's backed off as well, because that is just at least 10 seconds down, so that is not a lap for Liam. So that'd be the end for Maki and Liam in P5, P6. Unless Andrews can...
Andrews is on the time. Andrews is on the time. So yeah, I expect he's got a bit more pace in him. Can he trouble the 2 Aston Martins ahead of him on this final effort then?
He is up by a 10th actually, so yeah, this would take him ahead of Liam as it stands. So if he can keep this nice and neat through the last chicane and get a nice entry into that corner, he swings it now to the main straight, and we'll see, can he actually get ahead of Liam? And he doesn't.
No,
he improved a little bit,
yeah.
3 thousandths off Liam's time. That is just an incredible achievement by N. Andrews. Great job there, and just so unfortunate not to jump Liam. And I think that is all she wrote. So Jesper will take pole then and gets the extra points. That's a great job for Jesper. With Yonti in P2 and Finn taking P3.
So that puts the gap at 7 points before we even start then. So much needed extra point for Jesper. Great time in the end. And even with that toe, was not enough for Yonti to get anywhere near him. But with a wet race, it could be completely different. And, you know, some of those guys, or any of the grid, could have been running a wet setup, if not all of them. So we'll see how their cars are set up for the race to come. But, yeah, decent showing from the Aston Martins. Best of the rest, 5th and 6th. They've been on some great results, especially at Singapore, before the madness started to unfold.
Yeah, they work really well as a team, especially with the engineer as well. I believe that is Civilized Monkey. But then, there we go then. So we have Jesper confirmed with pole, then P1 with Yonti P2. It's so close to the front. In fact, Yonti and Finn did exactly the same time. Because Yonti did it first, he gets P2 and Finn takes P3. So that is a great achievement from both of them. Beaker takes P4 and Maku takes P5. So great job from Maku and Liam P6. And Andrews then P7. So unfortunate not to get the place ahead of Liam. Harv takes a great job in P8. Pulu takes P9. And Polka takes P10. With Yuki at best of the rest. Followed by Frosty, Marco, Rusty, Jaxie, who did not take part in qualifying, was serving his qualifying ban, and I believe Torza did manage to join in as well at the end. Did not get to take part in qualifying, but will be here for the race. So while we transition into the race session, then we just want to give a huge shout out to our sponsors, Simsock and to Foxworth Autosport. Of course, they are providing a lot for us this season and a lot more for next season. So make sure you stay tuned for the announcement of Season 6 coming very soon. Actually, we have been speaking behind closed doors and behind the scenes about what is going to be happening for Season 6. I know a lot of people have been asking us about it. There is going to be some changes that are going to be cool. So make sure you just stay alert and stay with the Discord. And make sure you join Discord if you want to know more about Season 6 and how to get involved.
Ooh, teasing us there, Hardy.
Ooh, I have to be a teaser. Always good to tease people. But from the news that I've seen and what we've talked about, there's so much to look forward to.
I'm uncomfortable with this situation.
Good, always be uncomfortable. That's what Rage always taught me. The great man himself, Rage F1. Unfortunately, not here. I don't know why he's not here. He just said last week he wouldn't be here, so he's going to miss out on this exciting action, unfortunately. So
he's out bowling.
Oh yeah, he's bowling. That's what he said, didn't he? He's going bowling.
It's competitive bowl. Well, just going out bowling, which I think.
I mean, what would you rather do?
4 months of staying at home with a little one. I think it's good for them to get out. So we don't hold that against them.
Yeah, but we can't hold it against them. You know, I'm not going to blame him for going bowling. But you know, I can't miss side-by-side action. Suzuka in the wet with these drivers.
I know. There's nowhere I'd rather be. Although he is commentating for 12 hours tomorrow as well. So that might...
Yeah, so he's going to get punished for his bowling, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. So, looking intermediate then. And I'm presuming my game's glitched because it's showing
soft tyres.
It's showing them all on dry tyres on my screen. But...
Yeah, I'm on dry tyres on my screen as well. That is...
everybody is on dry. There's no spray coming off the cars, but it looks very wet. I'm very confused, Hardy.
Yes. I am very confused as well. I've never seen this before.
I mean, there's definitely no spray, and none of them seem to be struggling for grip. So,
okay.
Help, Codemasters.
This is a brand new one for us then. So, apart from Torza and Marco, everyone is on soft tyres, and the other two are on the medium. So this is going to be really interesting because if the rain is going to get heavier. I mean, we have Jaxie off in the background, actually, so he's not happy at all. This is his first experience on the track, but...
I'm just chaos. I don't understand. Is there anything going on in the...
I will double-check the chat and see if...
I can't see anything, so no one is commenting on anything. I mean, it's definitely raining. The track definitely looks wet, but... they're on dries and seem to have perfect grip, so either they're seeing something different from us. They couldn't change.
They couldn't change tyres. I believe it's a restart. I just need to get confirmation
of that, because what I'm also confused about, if that's the case, is why does it look like they've all got a load of grip?
Yeah, is it doesn't seem right that they have a lower grip in the wet. If it makes no sense to me at all.
I mean, no. I can't see any.
I don't see any complaints. Yeah, so I mean, I think we'll stick with it, and we'll see if there's an issue when they go racing. If there's something obviously wrong with them, we can look at restarting it. I mean, I am trying to get confirmation from Safso. Yeah, Safso agrees with us as well. We'll keep it going. We'll see how it goes. If there is any massive problems and a lot of drivers are struggling, and there's something obviously wrong, then we will take a picture from the start of the grid, and we will go again. But for now, we'll carry on. So, top three predictions then. I'm going to say Yonti, Jesper, Maku.
I reckon Yonti, Jesper, Liam.
Ooh.
But we'll see.
Okay, we're just waiting for Jaxie to line up. And there we go. Okay then, so we're going to get 5 red lights eventually, but of course we're always out of sync with the lights in this game. Great little Codemasters bug, so they're still on the grid. We're waiting. And now we finally get going, and there we go. So we'll now go and see if Jesper gets a good start, but with the Mercedes are coming up right both ends on the right side of them, and Jesper's actually going to get eaten in the first corner and has to go wide. There's a little bit of contact there, a little bit of wheel banging, but he seems to get away with it. Beyonce is now straight into the lead, and Jesper has actually lost 3 places. Chaos at the start.
Yeah, that was rude from BK, but he did not want to allow his teammate's championship rival to get through that. Perfect start from Yonti. Finn muscling his way through the inside of turn 2 as well, and that's a disaster for Jesper, as we've got more chaos in the background of Harv, Andrews and Maku. He seems to have made a pretty poor start.
Well, I think Harv actually gained 2 places there, so that's a great job. He was starting in P8, so that's good from him. Tor's actually got P12 at starting last, and not taking part in any of the qualifying. He's in the wrong car apparently, but it's okay because he didn't have a chance to actually select the car and that was available. So, and there's no performance advantage in this, so they are all set to equal. Yuki is actually down to P16, so he is the biggest loser at the start, with his teammate Rusty down to P15, and Rusty's actually covering this week for his teammates. So don't expect Rusty to be immediately on pace, actually. But, you know, we'll see what he can do from the back, and we'll see what we can get. Rusty as well coming in as a reserve, and he's under attack by Jaxi. And we'll see if Jaxi can hold him through under any pressure into Spoon Corner. And Jaxi actually is struggling so much for grip in the wet. Of course, he didn't get to take part in qualifying, and he might not have the right setup on it at all, so...
Oh, Harv's round. Harv's around at 130.
That's a huge shame for Harvey. He was having such a great start up to P6. So
I'm not sure if he lost it. It was a bit of contact. I just caught the rear end of it there.
There's definitely a bit of contact. If that has happened, then we will have a look obviously post-race with the stewarding team. But we will definitely need to see that again after the race. But Torz is actually into the pits as well. So is Torz going for wet tyres or intermediates early? He is actually, yeah. So this could be a massive stroke from Torza. Jaxi gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and that is not going to help his day.
Well, there's a nose as well for Torza, so I wonder if he's just rolling the dice.
I wonder if it was Torza, if Torza hit Harv maybe, because Torza had gained a lot of places at the start as well.
Essentially, there were a couple
it's even worse for Harv, because Jaxi and Harv are double stacking in the pits. Oh, that is absolutely horrid for them.
And they have all gone to intermediates, so we'll have to keep an eye on the pace here and see. Torz will probably be the biggest barometer for it as to whether they're working. He looks to have grip out of the corner, but the thing is, I don't see them struggling too much.
Yeah, they don't seem to be
guys up front. They seem to have control of the car. They're not locking up. They're not losing the rear too much. So that was very early for a lot of people, but there were people down the grid, weren't they? So they're just trying something different. But,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it also depends as well on the setup as well, what they were expecting. So you can see now that the front are closing up a little bit into a little bit of a train. Of course, no DRS yet, I believe, as well. So, and the AlphaTauri is just having a nightmare at the back. Jaxi's just got no grip at all, it seems, and keeps spinning off in Sector 1. So that is a shame for Jaxi. He's going to have to try and get something dialed into his car. And no one at the front's actually coming into the pits either. They're staying out on the soft tyres.
Yeah, they don't look to be struggling. No one does. I think there were people just trying something back towards the back of the pack. But I think most of those that pitted also had front wing damage. So I think they had to pit, and they thought, let's try the intermediates and see what happens. We've got a gap now between Torza and Yakia that we can monitor to see what kind of pace difference there is there. I'd expect Torza to be quicker. Yakia if they were both on the same tyres. So if that gap stays the same, I would say that they're not working. But if Torza suddenly starts to make inroads, then we know those tyres are the right ones to be on. How much did you catch of that Beaker and Jesper battle at the beginning of the first lap? Because it looked a little rude from me to me.
I caught a little bit of it. There was a little bit of wheel banging from them. It looked like Beaker just did want to keep Jesper right behind, and it looked a little bit firm. But I mean, I can't speak for the shooting team directly if they're going to look at it or not. But I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they did look at it for the contact that was between them. But I mean, Jesper just seemed to have such a poor start. But I mean, I think it will definitely be looked at. It's definitely been noted. We know that. So, but I mean,
luckily for both, it was wheel to wheel contacts. The 3 or 4 times they did bang wheels, but there was a lot of it. But that's what Beaker has shown himself to be doing the last few races, and he's thinking about the constructors and the drivers for his teammates. So
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
The one thing Jesper doesn't have is a teammate alongside him for this one.
Yeah, that is the challenge for Jesper, because unfortunately Safso I think he's having wheel issues, so he isn't able to race at the moment. So his replacement driver Tristende, I think, is not available for this race, and he's coming back for next. So that's gonna be great. And Maku has made the move right on N Andrew, so that is a great little overtake on the main straight there. And they're on soft tyres as well, so the pace is still fine. Yeah,
Torza's falling away. It's the wrong decision at the moment. Wrong tyres.
Yeah, the range's just not heavy enough for the intermediates. It's just it's just too light of the rein. So
yeah, I think they all needed front wings, so I think they gave it a go. It might come back to them, but the thing is, you know, they've already lost that time and they're burning through these intermediates while the track's too dry. So
oh, and then Andrews had a spin actually in Sector 1, so he's one of our first victims of the Sector 1 curbs, unfortunately. So that is such a shame there, unfortunately, for N Andrews. But that does put Marco actually up to P9, so it's a good job for Marco. And he's on the medium tyres actually, so if it does stay dry enough, he could actually go a lot further.
Another spin from Andrews, and yeah, that will be a VSC because he's smashed his front wing all over the track there, unfortunately.
And that is such a shame for N Andrews. He's definitely going to need to come in and get that wing changed then.
So it might stay out long enough for these guys to think about it, but as I say, with the times Tours is doing, it just doesn't look right at the moment. The right time to... Is that gap suddenly up? Oh, it's the VSC gap, isn't it? Don't worry, ignore me. I was going to say Tours has lost like 10 seconds, but it's not, it's the VSC gap.
Oh, and Finn's got a drive-through penalty for speeding under the VSC.
Yep, I mean...
Yeah, you can see he closed right up to Yonti. There was like a 1.4 second gap at one point, and it's down to under a second. So, but the delta is, we have seen it in the past in this game. The delta can be so wrong. So what does Beaker go for?
He's got to be going for inters. It's the only reason he could be in at the moment.
He's serving a penalty. I don't see him boxing at all. He hasn't actually stopped in the box. So did he get a drive through?
You carry on watching, I'll check the race director.
That's very strange from Beaker then to just drive straight through the pits and not have the tyre change.
Drive-through speeding under virtual safety car. Yeah, absolutely. Beaker, Frosty and Finn have drive-throughs.
Ah. Okay, Andrews has retired as well. I think he's done it out on track, so that is not the correct procedure for it. Rusty's picked up a penalty as well, so... This is just turned into a bit of chaos now. On I think lap 5 of 27 as well. Rebecca now right in the back of Pulu.
I can't. Well, we don't know if it's going to get wet or dry. We can't see. We don't have a forecast, but Finn is going to have to box for that drive-through. That's one thing we do know for sure, and that will leave the two championship rivals line astern once again. Then, so all that good work from Beaker, unfortunately, undone by that VSC in terms of having a buffer between Yonti and his championship rival.
And right behind Beaker as well is Marco, so if Beaker makes any mistake trying to make the move onto Pulu, then Marco is sniffing an opportunity here. So we'll stay on board with Beaker then, we'll see if he can get Pulu coming out of Spoon and towards 130R then. So how is Pulu going to play this then? Is he going to try and defend from Beaker, or does he think better of it for his race? He looks like he's thinking a bit better of it for Pulu. Of course, the Rheinmeister himself is just going to try and just go for his own race. And Rusty's retired. I don't know if he's crashed.
Into the barrier, massive.
It is, it's full safety car.
Crash 130R.
Oh, that is such a shame for Rusty's as well. You
So
see him on the left side. That's the entire rear wing off the car.
Finn has absolutely gamed that. He went in for his drive-through, then the safety car came out, so he's managed to exit back on the safety car, but still managed to serve his penalty.
Does it still count in this game, or will it make him do it again?
because he's entered the pit lane before the safety car came out.
Yeah, so that has definitely saved Finn for a while then.
I mean, look at the difference between him and Beaker.
Yeah, that has absolutely helped him completely then. So the only thing though is that Beaker is going to have fresh mediums, and Finn is going to be on older softs. So it could have come back to Beaker a little bit during this race, but that's such a shame for Rusty then. So we've got 3 DNFs done already. We've got both Haas drivers out for N Andrews and Frosty, and Rusty's out as well. So that is a shame for them. This is going to give Jaxie a little bit of a chance to get back up to the grid as well towards his teammates. So that is going to hopefully help him a little bit and try and see if he can get back into some kind of rhythm for this race. What this does though is this is going to absolutely destroy Yonti's lead though of about 4 seconds. So that is a shame for Yonti.
Yeah, I mean, Jesper was only 2 or 3 seconds behind. The safety car deltas are making it seem a bit different. But yeah, it will put them line astern for the restart. I think the fact that we've seen Polecat, Beaker and Pulu and Yakia and Torza pit for new mediums suggests the rain's not getting heavier. So I think I wouldn't be surprised to see these front guys come in for mediums then.
Yeah, so Yonti's coming in now, so Jesper should follow then, and we'll see him. Yeah, he does follow, so These
Yeah,
should be
he's
mediums.
made so many mistakes.
Liam leaves it to the last second, but then comes in, so he's coming in for mediums. But Mako goes round actually, so Maku's staying out. So Maku's going to go long on the soft tyres then, so he's going to come back later in this race. Hopefully on the medium tyres later on then, so be interested to see what Maku can do. Maybe try and hold up Yonti and Jesper for a couple of laps at the start possibly, and try and give his teammate Liam a bit of a better chance. And Marco stays out because I think he's already on fresher mediums anyway, so... Unless actually, no, I think Marco might start on his mediums, so he won't be too bad condition actually, so he's up to P3 and gained 10 places so far, so good job by Marco.
Yeah, he couldn't come in for the softs because they won't make it to the end, and he's got to use the opposite compound.
Oh,
so
Finn's pitted as well. Finn's realised he needed the fresh tyres, so he has saved him a lot of time though. He's now in P6, so still ahead of Bika though. So this shows you how lucky he got with that timing to come into the pits just as the safety car was called. So to save that penalty and get the fresh tyres and be ahead of Bika is a great job there for Finn.
Yeah, he's
who I believe is feeling under the weather at the moment as well. So super job from Finn.
So yeah, I think it was a case of Maku just playing, trying something different, staying out. He gets to lead a race, and if there's a bit of chaos behind, or Yaya can hold some of those guys up, then it could work out. Crucially, we have Yaya in between Jesper and Jonty, so we won't get that restart of the two championship rivals. So Jesper will need to clear that car as quickly as possible. Beaker and Polecat and Finn, I mean, all those guys are going to be coming back through here. 20 laps on the mediums sound about right, or going to be tricky to get those to the end?
I mean, I'd say it'd be a little bit tricky. I reckon you could probably do 16 laps on the mediums or so normally, but with a safety car period, obviously you can bring it up a little bit, but I don't know. I think there's still at least one more stop for most of the drivers. It's going to be tough, but I mean, the interesting thing here, though, is Torza has changed onto the mediums after having that awful... That gamble that he took to go onto the intermediates. But if he can close up now in the safety car period, have the warm tyres as they get going again, he could actually fight and gain a few places up. Maybe pit towards the end for the softs if he's still got... Because he'll have a set of brand new softs because he didn't take part in qualifying. And him and... I think it was Yukia didn't use the softs in qualifying, so if it goes drier towards the end, they should have a pace advantage at the end. And we know Torza, being a former champion, knows what he's doing, and I think last time he raced around here, he had a good race here, so it's going to be interesting to see that strategy come to him as soon as we get going again. So still a lot to play for, and during that as well, Jaxie did DNF, so not a great day in the office for Jaxie.
No, unfortunate. We all have those days. I'm sure he'll come back and fight stronger next time. Yeah, Torza's had great pace, and he sort of he took the risk on going on the inters, and it didn't work out. So he's now got a second chance at that and back on strategy with everybody else. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see how he can come back through. But yeah, it's essentially a full grid reset here, with Yaya as a bit of a cork in the bottle. But those guys will need to complete it as quickly as possible, and Jonty will have to try and get past Maku quicker than Jesper can get past Yaya.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be
it's going to be a game of leapfrog here to try and run away from their rivals, but
it's going to be a very spicy race. I mean, we're only lap 8 at 27 as well, so still plenty of time for strategies to unfold. I think safety car will probably do one more lap because we're still waiting for Torza and Harv to catch up. And Jonty actually sliding the car nicely to kind of keep some heat in the tyres just before 130R, so you can see that he's trying to get as much heat as he can into these. So I'm guessing that because it is, the game is saying it's wet because of the rain effects.
We think it's wet.
So we think, yeah, we believe it's wet. So I'm guessing that the tyre temps are going to be struggling a lot more than normal than if the game was saying it was dry. So getting the temperatures bang on as best as you can is going to be key here. I mean, Maku is going to have this huge challenge though, trying to keep Jonty behind on fresher tyres. I mean, if we have a look at the difference in tyre life, I mean, Maku has been on since the start, so it's going to be interesting to see how long he can keep Jonty behind to try and help Liam.
Yeah, I think it's just sort of rolling the dice here with Mako. I don't think he was expecting to be able to hold on to that position for long, but, you know, yellows breed yellows, and if there's another issue behind, then he might get another 3, 4, or 5 laps if there's another safety car. So, yeah, you know, he just needs to eke this out long enough to put those mediums on. If he can stay within that top 4 or 5 until he needs to pit, and get 5 or 6 laps on everybody else, then he will have fresher tyres towards the end to try and come back through. So, yeah. And how will he restart is also going to be key here.
Yeah, it's gonna be really interesting to see how they restart. I mean, is he gonna go early or is he gonna go late? We just don't know. I mean, the good thing is, of course, they're one of the few teams that do have that engineer in their pocket. They do have Civilized Monkey giving them the calls and the data he gets that he can see. So, of course, they do a lot of practice as well, Maku, Liam, and the team. So, I'm sure they'll be trying to work that out now and then preparing for when to go and how to go. So, it's gonna be interesting to see what Maku does and how he's going to bolt off the line. I expect him just to go as soon as that safety car says he's going to back him up 4 seconds and then go. But this is going to be really interesting to see how we can do it. So his safety car should be coming in this lap, or we might get one more. But the cars are all the cars are all now caught up.
It's got to be on this lap, surely. Otherwise, I think we're bugged. Because, yeah, everybody's in line. We've been going for, 4 laps of caution now, so it should be this time round. But, yeah, it'd be interesting to see. You know, Maku and Liam have the opportunity to work together here, and Maku let Liam know, although Liam obviously cannot overtake till they get to that. Is it the safety car line or the start-finish on
I think
F1
it's
game?
the start-finish on the F1 game. So, yeah, so safety car is going in then. So Maku's letting it go away and comes with a de facto safety car himself then. So from now they can get going if he decides to. But still not overtaken till the start-finish line. And he's really backing them up. He's just going to try and help Liam as much as he can. So he should go now, and he does. So he gets a good exit out of there, and we can go on board with Liam actually. And you can see Liam just trying to get as much of a toe of Jesper with Marco right behind him as well. So
crucially, Jesper and Liam have got ahead of Yaya then. So that puts Jesper right behind his championship rival, and while Maku is still up there, this is his best opportunity to try and get a move done. But yeah, Liam jumping as well, having a great start, did benefit him then. And Maku's got away quite nicely, although Jonty's definitely starting to get the measure of it.
I think Liam's actually struggling a little bit in that sector, just being too close in the dirty area of Jesper, just struggling a little bit to follow. I mean, of course, these cars are much harder to follow in following other cars. So it's going to be struggling a little bit for Liam, especially as he gets these tyre temps up. He should come back a little bit more, Jesper. We got a yellow flag. Is that the back of the grid? Bicker down in P12 actually. So if he had a spin, his tyres look absolutely like they've gone off the track. So that's a shame for Bicker, now down in P12. But definitely got a great fighting spirit, Bicker. So it's not over yet.
Yep, no, long way to go. Unfortunate though, not the restart.
And towards that, actually, sorry to interrupt you, makes a great move on Yuki as Yuki gets a little bit wobbly. And in fact, Harv should be able to get through. No, and Harv makes a little contact with Yuki, and that sends Harv straight off. And that was close to going into the walls for Harv. So that is a shame for Harv. He will definitely want to be going to see the stewards after this with him and Yuki. It might have been decent possibly, because I didn't see Yuki move his car like a jolt or anything. But just a shame for Harv there. So not a good day for the AlphaTauri team.
No, with a penalty to serve as well. That's the kind of thing that's always in the back of your mind when you're going to wheel as well. But, yeah, still a long way to go. Still points on the table. He's only 2 places off as well. Right, Jonty trying to make that crucial move on Maku then. Maku's defending for his life, though, into turn 1. Keeps the inside line. Didn't even really defend in terms of just trying to sell him the dummy or anything. Was just like, I'm going to stick to my line, and you find a way around, Jonty. You're the one with a championship on the line. All the time he's doing this, though, all the time Maku's holding him up, Jesper is getting closer and closer then.
Yeah, and while you're going on with that, Finn and Marco having a great battle going from the main straight. And Marco just hit the curb, unfortunately span, he's in the wall, and it's out of the session. That is unfortunate for Marco. He was having such a great battle, and yeah, you absolutely called it right, it is a safety car. That was such a great battle then between him and Finn. Just wouldn't give any inch to either driver, but great racing, great respect from both of them. I just got on the inside of that corner, off camber, and just sent straight to the scene of the accident. So that's unfortunate for Marco. So once again, then we've got another lull. Sorry to interrupt you.
It's alright. Those deadly curbs again. Yeah, it's a shame, but it is absolutely perfect for Maku. This is just what we said on the restart. If he can hold... Well, I said if he can hold 4 or 5, he's held the lead. I should never have doubted him, really, should I? And now this is the kind of time where you could pit. But does he want to lose that prime position? And what do the rest of them do? Do any of them come in for a newer set of mediums if they have them? It's quite unlikely they do, though.
Yeah, I mean, you could, if you think you've got the pace, you could risk maybe if you're maybe Finn or Polka, you could go to a hard set of tyres, go to the end and try and hold on at the end. But you've got to be so careful. I mean, Maku's got to pit in now anyway, so Yonti will take over the lead. Jesper can stay out as well, and that will put Liam back up to P3, I believe. So that does help Liam anyway. So Maku will get his reward of getting the fresher tyres now. But it's going to drop him... Actually, it's not going to drop him too far, because everyone else behind is actually pitted in. So he should come out in P6. So he's only lost a few places, actually. So that's not too bad for Maku. So Pulu then gets a brand new set of tyres. So does Yuki. Torza, I think, took a new front wing. Bicker, I believe, took a wing change as well. And of course, this week we do have the new setting on as well for the unsafe pit release. And the way the game will allow cars to go through each other, so you don't get held up. So... that setting that we did check with SxS has been enabled, so of course it will get looked at and tweaked, I'm sure, but that has been on, so the pit stop shouldn't be as much of an issue as other races have been. So we'll see how that affects things. So Becker then out in P10 and getting 1 point at the moment. Harv, I think, still has a penalty, not to serve, but I think it's a 3-second penalty for corner cutting, so that's not going to help his charge. But I mean, luckily, because of the safety car, after having that accident, he does gain a bit of a reset here. So, and we know Harv's got some mighty strong pace in Sector 2. So, if he can get on the back of this grid, and if Bicker and Torza just start battling it out for P10 and P9, Harv could come around the outside and maybe take that place. So, still battles everywhere to look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys that did have a new set of mediums available to them, so that was Maku, Pulu, and Yakia, as well as Harv. Beaker, as you said, has gone on to those hard tyres, but he's got the pace to negate that, I would have thought. But we saw how much of a difference just a few laps fresher tyres made for Pulu in Singapore last week. So, you know, that could be a masterstroke for those guys that had that extra set available to them. When they're all bunched up, and especially with the warm-up and the grip on those first couple of laps, I could see Maku especially making up some places there on those guys ahead of him. But finally, then we have a restart with the 2 championship contenders line the stern. What kind of games is Jonty going to play here?
Yes, this is going to be really interesting then to see how Jonty's going to approach it. So, unlike Maku, his teammate is down. Marco's actually left the session. What happened to Marco? We didn't see that. I don't know if did he crash or have a disconnect, or. But that is unfortunate for Marco. He's having a great race.
Marco's what caused the safety car, wasn't it?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it was Marco. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, sorry.
He hit that curve. Yeah.
It's because I'm getting mixed up because obviously I know it's Marco, and on the thing it's Yaya Sanago. So I do apologise. My brain is just not firing on all cylinders. It's a bit like a Cosworth engine, I guess. Sometimes it performs well, sometimes it doesn't. But I'm not throwing shade.
Cosworth engines are great, mate. They've been some of the greatest cars of all time.
I mean, road engines, I will give them, but I'm talking more about the Formula 1 engines. I'm not a Formula 1 Cosworth fan, but you know, put it in a fast forward and I'll be happy.
They've won races with Cosworths.
Yes, about 40 years ago.
Most of those Ford engines were Cosworths.
Yes.
No, they won races in the 90s. I'm sure they won championships in the 90s as well.
I don't think they won championships in the 90s. Can we get Statman on one? I mean, are we talking Formula 1 championships or any motorsport series? Because I'm sure they would have won a touring car championship, which is fine.
I'm going to cover myself and say all motorsport.
Yeah, cover yourself with all, because then I will agree with you. Because then, you know, nothing is better than a fast Ford with a Cosworth engine. I will give you that, but a Formula 1 Cosworth engine is just no. It just doesn't seem right. I don't know. I just don't like them. Sorry to throw shade to Cosworth. Anyway, back to the action then. So Jonty out in front then. He's got the interesting place now because his teammate's down in P11 at the back of the grid, so he doesn't have to back the pack up to try and help his teammate. Leading the championship, his rival right behind him in P2. You've got Lee in P3. Safety car's in this lap now. How is he going to go? and get the restart now? Is he going to just do what Maku did and try and go as late as possible, or go early? I think he's going to try and go late as possible. He's just trying to get as much heat now into mainly the rears of that car. So we'll see.
Well, you either play a game of trying to get the jump, or you play a game of trying to put your championship rival into trouble with Liam behind. But yeah, he's gone now. So didn't play any games, just did his own thing, and he's got a slight jump on Jesper and actually put him under a bit more pressure from Liam, but a fairly even restart from those top three then. Maku is the one on the charge.
Yeah, so Maku now
he does
getting a good overtake, actually. Sorry to interrupt you.
That's alright, I was leaving a gap for you and you never came in. So.
Yeah, I do apologise. I was just trying to take a drink.
Alright. Then by all means do. So Maku did make that move on Polecat, and with those fresh tyres now has a run at that top four then. So we'll see how much difference 5-lap mediums make around this circuit. Beaker's made some great progress in P8 as well as Torza. Actually, I think Torza's about where he was on that restart. Beaker that's made the progress. And then what will the two Alfa Romeo boys do? I saw them swap positions in the first 5 laps. Is it time for Polecat to return the favour to Pulu with 6 laps difference between their tyres as well?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, Pulu should be faster in this part of the race. It's going to be interesting when it gets towards the end, around lap 23 or so, to see what they're going to do with strategy there. But I mean, if I was the Alfa Romeo team, I'd let Pulu go now on the charge on those mediums and see if he can put any pressure onto Maku. But I mean, Maku is... I mean, Finn's right in the back of Liam, and Liam's right in the back of Jesper. Yonti is just driving away now, gap to 1.8 seconds. So this is going to be spicy now. If Finn can get a good run onto Liam into 130R. I mean, the yellow flag actually at the end of Spoon. I think it's Harv actually has had either an instance or a spin, so that is a shame for Harv as well while we're watching this fight. So, well, fortunate for Harv, but I think he's lost too much time.
Nope, and crucially, doesn't look like anything on track or anything that's going to cause another safety car. But yeah, Yonti has just gone, and Jesper is, although it looks like Finn and Liam that are going to go into battle into turn 1 then. Not really a breaking point until now, but it's still not much of a breaking point, more of a just let down through the gears. And I think Finn's just going to have to stay patient through the S's here and see if he can maybe get a move into the hairpin. But Finn's definitely got some great pace, but so's Maku, you know, on those fresh tyres, bringing them in, and see what he can do with those as Beaker makes.
Oh, I think Pulu's gone round right at the back. Pulu has had a spin in the first sector. I think he hit on the curves of death, so that is a shame for him. Yoki should get past him, I think. Actually, maybe not. I think he doesn't. So Pulu does manage to keep P9 at least, but he loses 2 places to Becker and Torza. So shame there. But that's what you were saying before. You're right, Maku, a man on a charge at the moment, bringing that gap down ever so slightly every time.
I think he heard us, because just as we said that, he's made a mistake. Oh. He's way behind now.
But yeah, that is such a shame then for Maku, unfortunately. Then. But I mean, going back to the battle then with Finn and Liam, it's so good to watch this battle. I mean, obviously early in the season we had the battle of Liam and Safsa, and just no driver would give even an inch to either one of them. And you can just see now just the respect these drivers have for each other is just amazing and great to see. Great to see good sportsmanship, of course, all around and side by side. So we'll see if Finn thinks about maybe going for a dive bomb, but I think he's going to just try and set Liam up for the move onto the main straight, and maybe even for the next lap after Spoon. And we'll have to see what its straight line speed's like down here.
But you have to be in the right. You have to be quick enough in the right places at this track. The big problem with turn 1, if you haven't got the straight line speed with DRS, is there's, as we mentioned before, not really a braking zone. I think it is going to have to be the hairpin, all that final corner that he gets it done, but the fact that he's been able to stay this close suggests he's quicker at this point, as Maku is pitted.
Yeah, he's had a wing change, we were watching it then, a wing change and fresh tyres for mediums, so he did pick up damage then, so that is a shame for Maku. Of course, we might get another safety car. You never know. Believe it or not, the safety car is on the normal setting. We don't change it. We haven't increased them. I know a while ago at the start of the season, people thought we had them on extra, we did for race 1, but then we turned it back to the standard setting it's always been on. And I mean, it is Suzuka. It does throw up a safety car or two. So it'd be interesting now. I mean, 14 seconds off half. So if something does happen in the pack, he could be on a good charge towards the end. And I mean, 11 laps to go, he should be able to do 11 laps on those mediums easily. And of course, Driver of the Day voting is now open as well, so get your Driver of the Day in chat, and we will award it at the end, as Rusty's now leaves the session, but he DNF'd earlier on, so that's a shame for Rusty's.
Yep. How many sets of medium tyres does this man have? Apparently more than 2. But yeah, fresh set. If there's a safety car, then it's quite a shame. Really, he had a great pace. That's sort of taken him completely out of the picture. But yeah, Pulu on the back of Torza then has recovered from that spin. Jesper was the quickest man that time around though, as he tries to...
Finn looking to make a move on Liam, actually going back into the first corner. As the camera just slightly glitches there, so just to fix that a little bit, so it's fine. You can just see Liam still holding it as well. There's just great battle in there, and Finn does finally manage to get the move done, and Liam's going to settle for P4 at the moment, so great overtake there from Cycle Finn.
Yeah, contacts on the exit, that's what made Liam lose the rear end, but I think it was all fair in love and war. They definitely gave each other space, and that move had been coming. I think Finn has been the quicker of the 2 guys, and even without braking zone into turn 1 and 2, he's still managed to make it around the outside there. So yeah, super move. And now we'll see what kind of pace he's got to get involved in those top 3.
Yeah, and of course now as well, Finn doesn't have the DRS crucially, but Liam will, so this could just be a constant battle if Liam can stay with Finn, just try and go back on him again. Yellow flag at the end of sector 1, I think it's for Torza. Yeah, Torza's round, that is such a shame for Torza. I don't think he's got any damage, I think he just lost it and span it. So Maku should come past, and he does. So Maku takes that place and gets it back into the points. That is a shame for Torza. Some of the drivers struggling out there today then. So
he is now in the wall though. He lost it on re-entry. Obviously his tyres.
Oh, it's a full safety car. This is going to help Maku because he's just pitted for fresh tyres. So this is going to be huge for Maku.
Yeah, Yonti is... They're all going to pass, so I would expect them all to come in now for those soft tyres, apart from maybe Bicker, who will stay out. And then from Pudu back, they've got the option to stay out. But I would expect most of them, if they've got them, get soft tyres now.
I mean, if I was Liam, I'd stay out. I mean, Finn stays out. Finn stays out. So Finn baited it then. He was going to pit in, and then last second changed his mind. I don't know if that's allowed once you've committed to the pit lane to a point. So that might get looked at by the stewards. I believe it is to a point. But he was so close to go on the line to being put into the pit, and then last second switched out before the wall closed it off. So Finn then is on mediums that I think should get to the end, but Yonti behind is going to be on brand new softs. So that's going to do probably 7 or 8 laps at the most on them, with Jesper behind on the softs. I mean, it looks like Finn's missed a trick, but he's had to try to do something different, I guess, because otherwise he'd just be stuck in the train. But I don't know, it's too close to call.
I think he probably thinks he's got the pace. He's trying something different. Don't forget, these mediums, by the time we get to green again, about well over 50% of their life would have been under safety car conditions, so I don't think there's a problem in getting to the end. His issue will be with the 3 cars he was fighting on brand new soft tyres behind him. But 10 laps is still, well, probably 7 or 8 racing laps, but still a long way to go on soft tyres.
Yeah, and that is the thing as well for Finn, is we haven't seen him in clear air leading the pack this race. So, and obviously we have seen drivers, once they get in dirty air, they do struggle a little bit trying to, it's one thing to catch a car, it's another to pass. So, and once, I mean, if we do get 8 laps or so on the softs, once you get past lap 5, those tyres are going to be screaming. So, I mean, it's all to play for. I'm not going to call it early because it's impossible to say if Finn's going to get this win, or Yonti, or even Maku at the back. But I mean, if it was me, I'd pit for the softs and go for the flat out attack and try it. But I mean, huge respect to Finn for staying out, trying something different, go and see if he can go to the end on these mediums. I mean, if we have a look, actually, they're 10 laps old now. They've done most of them, as you said, behind the safety car. So he's got nothing really to lose from it. And of course, without his teammate, he needs to try and score the maximum amount of points he can for the constructors. So
yeah, I think he's going for glory here. Those tyres won't be too old in terms of racing terms, and if he can hold up or crucially back Yonti into Jesper on the restart, then he's got a chance of running away a bit.
I will say though, it does say AI from Yonti's camera to AI RF. So is he actually in the car?
Who, Finn?
Yeah. Because we're watching on board from Yonti, and it does say that Recycle Finn is an AI. So I don't know if that is a Cody's glitch or if Finn is not actually in the car.
I can't see anything in the Discord that would suggest he's not in.
I mean, I will send him another invite just in case he's not in. Better to be safe than sorry. But it was just something we just noticed on the onboard of Yonti, that it's saying that Finn is an AI. But on anyone else's onboard, yeah, even on Jesper is saying Finn is AI, but he's not ghosting or anything, so
he could, if it's AI, he could be in the menu.
Possibly, yeah.
Quite a few people do that.
Yeah, because now he's fine. Yeah,
so I think he's okay. He's weaving, so yeah, he's definitely in that car. But yeah, you know, if he gets the right restart and Chaos goes on behind, he's got a chance, right? And he was pretty much the quickest car on the track just before they stopped. But yeah, I think those three behind him have a very good chance of getting through. Let's not count Beaker out as well. Now back up in
and I'm going to say as well, let's not count Maku out as well, because he's now had that reset with the fresher tyres. I mean, these we've only got 10 cars left, so they're all going to get a point as it stands if they get to at least 90% of the race distance. So I think it's about lap 24. Off the top of my head, I've never too great at maths. Safety car in this lap then, so we'll see now. Will Finn do what the others have done and go very late? Or will he go early? Because they're just not backing up till now, so this should be time for him to pounce, and he does so.
Yep, great restart. Just no games, no fun and games, just off straight away. And instead of Jesper attacking Yonti, it's actually Liam that is attacking Jesper then. It's the closest battle of those front three. Yakia has dropped position to Maku as he starts making his way back through on those softs as well then. But it's all status quo with those top four at the moment.
Yeah, a lot of the drivers closing up but not being able to make a move yet. I mean, Bicker around the back of Harv. He's trying to make a move around the outside. I don't think he's going to stick because Harv's going to run him out of room there because Harv is allowed to hold his line. But they are going side by side, and that's a great move there from Bicker then. Finally gets past Harv and up back into P5. It's a great recovery from Bicker. I think Harv hasn't pitted yet sorry, excuse me, let me rephrase. I think Harv didn't pit when everyone else did, so I think his tires are a bit older. So he might struggle a bit more as they get back into the operating window. So he might be able to hold Polkat and Pulu a bit better than he did with Beaker. But I don't think his race is with Bicker today. I think it is with Polkat and Pulu. So we'll see what happens there then. So Jesper then, Yonti and Finn. I mean, Yonti right on the back of Finn. He's got to make this move cleanly and fairly, because obviously you don't want to get any penalties afterwards. But Finn then just struggling a little bit for traction coming out of Spoon. Yellow flag right at the back of sector 2. It's Pulu. So Pulu has had a spin at Spoon, so that is unfortunate for Pulu. He was doing a great job earlier.
Yeah, him and Maku had been going wheel to wheel a little earlier in that lap, as Polkat and Harv do, but this is now absolute do or die for Yonti, because he's got Jesper and Liam on brand new fresh tyres that all want that win, and he needs to get it done into turn one, but you know, he's going to have to go the long way around, I would imagine, as Finn's going to show him the outside, and again there's no braking zone there, so nowhere to get it done, and Finn's done exactly what he needs to do, and I think he'd be safe up until the hairpin now, although Jesper's getting pretty interested, as is Liam. And who's that joining the back of this pack?
It is Bicker, the one and only. So Bicker has managed to get a great recovery of these safety cars, and he's going to put the pressure onto Liam, so Liam needs to get past Jesper quickly as well. Just look how much confidence these guys have got. Just they're so good following each other, closing up and having that much confidence in the drivers.
Harv with no front wing and into the barrier. Sorry to interrupt. Hopefully not another safety car.
Yeah, hopefully not. Yeah, I don't think it is, but that's such a shame for Harv then. He's just not catching the break, unfortunately. But I mean, if he can get to the end of the race, he will score a point, and that would be at least some kind of redemption for the AlphaTauri team, just to get the consistency with points. So it would be a good job all around for them to take a result at least from today's race. So then coming out with Spoon, then Yonti then getting a good, just getting a better exit again from Finn, but it's just he just doesn't seem to be able to make the inroads he needs to on Finn. Finn is just so good at putting the car where he needs to, that when it comes up to like the chicane, I mean, Yonti can't afford to risk a dive bomb because Jesper's right behind him. So he can either sacrifice. I mean, you either sacrifice this race win, but you still have to score your main championship rival. But I mean, Yonti we know is the racing driver that just wants to get the win, and now DRS is enabled, so this is going to shake things up completely. As Bicker goes fastest lap of a 1:37.7, just look how close Yonti gets to the back of Finn. Great stuff.
Yeah, there's no braking zone there. That's the problem. I think the last chicane is his best opportunity, but you said it perfectly. You know, he's not going to be willing to risk it because Finn won't care going wheel to wheel to get a bit argy-bargy. But if Yonti makes a wrong move, loses a piece of front wing, then, you know, his clawing back of a championship lead where he is currently will suddenly turn to the gap widening even further. So yeah, he's going to have to be careful. But Jesper, the thing is, Jesper hasn't got the opportunity to just sit there either. He's got Liam and now Beaker all over the back of him, and I think Yonti will probably be trying to get a bit of that team play going in from Beaker to try and work his way up here and start giving Jesper a hard time.
Well, interesting as well. I was going to say, you could see Yonti was taking some interesting lines, actually very different in the entry coming out of Dunlop Corner, I think it's called, and he just got such a better drive than Finn and just gained so much time. I think he gained about 400ths of a second actually, which doesn't sound like a lot, but in this kind of battle it is. I just gained so much, but when it comes here for this part of the track where he needs the speed on Finn, he just doesn't seem to have it.
Finn gets a really good exit out of Spoon, and you know, those tyres will be giving him all the grip in all the wrong places at the moment around here. It'll be through the S's, and it'll be sort of through the middle part of that sector. As Yucky unfortunately is DNF'd as well.
Safety car, we're going to have probably a lap or two left then of racing when the safety car does come in. We might even get 3 laps if we're lucky. So that might just save Finn actually for his tyre wear. So a lot of his tyre usage then for the mediums has been behind the safety car today. So safety car's led a lot of laps today, it seems. So, but that is such a shame for Yuki then. So Half should be able to then take 2 points if he can just carry on. Pulu's in the pit, so once again, like he did in Singapore, takes the later pit stop, goes on a fresh set of softs when everyone else has already taken their softs. Could we see Pulu once again go from 8th up into the top 4?
We know how this goes. He's going for his tried and tested Singapore strategy. I don't think it'll be quite as crazy into the end of this race as that, but still, why not? If you've got the new tyres available to you, a couple of laps can make all the difference, especially on that first lap. It's a big shame for Finn, actually. I think he'd gone through the hard part in terms of warming those mediums quicker and defending through what would have been the best few laps of those soft tyres' life. So he's going to have to do it all again, but I think if we had a percentage indicator of win possibility, I think it's gone up a bit further with the safety car now. But, you know, all those guys are still going to be hungry, and you just got to look at the likes of Liam, Beaker, now Polecat and Maku once again joining the back of that. They're not going to be afraid to go for a podium or even better here with the position they're in. So it's going to be a pretty treacherous restart for Yonti and Jesper in terms of championship points.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this has just put the cat among the pigeons then. So like we need any more spicing over this race then. So another safety car comes out. Finn again just on. In fact, let's just check the age of his tyres. 15 lap old medium at the start, but they're not 15 laps of full racing action. They're not as bad as a condition as it seemed on paper. So you'd say they've got a little bit more life in than what we'd imagine they would have at this stage. Then you've got the likes of Yonti, Jesper and Liam, who did take that pit stop to go on the soft tyres and should theoretically have the better pace advantage. But as we're seeing, Yonti and Jesper and Liam are faster where it's not having the effect. You're faster in the places where you can't overtake. So it's so hard as well. And the one thing that I will say that is great about Finn, and we've seen it with Safso, is the ERS management is so good that when they get to a point like the last chicane, that the only thing that you'll see that tends to happen is maybe the driver behind, even if he's on fresher tyres, will close up enough to be behind them, but never in a place where they can really think about an overtake or a dive bomb. It's the deployment in this, the way that they use their mental capacity to go, well, if I hold on to it now and then use it here in this point instead, is so good of them that we know that Finn is going to be thinking, right, I'm going to save my battery for this bit instead of where Yonti's probably expecting them to use it to defend coming out of Spoon, for example. So it's going to be so interesting to see now, with only a handful of the laps left, what Finn does now. Does he keep the same approach? Does he change it? But if anyone can do it, it is Finn. So this is going to be a great battle to see at the end.
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. And with the ERS management as well, he's only got to think about how he uses that energy against one car, whereas back from there, the cars have to split responsibility of the ERS between attacking and defending. He's got the luxury of only using it when he needs to defend from Yonti in the places where he knows he's weak as well. So, yeah, how will they get that ERS management under control for the last few laps? How many laps will we have? And who will get the better restart this time around? But yeah,
well, we should hopefully have a safety car in this lap because the pack has closed up, so we should get about 3 laps or so to go, which is going to be very interesting then. So if it does come in at the end of this lap, then 3 laps to go, pace is going to be really high. So you can see now there's just Yonti trying to put as much tyre temperature, going very aggressive. So yeah, safety car in this lap then. So make sure you sit back, guys, and stay tuned for this action because this is where it's going to really heat up.
Yep, Finn went pretty early last time, but with the less tyre wear that he's got in his medium tyres now, will he go for a different strategy or will he go for what works last time? It looks like he's gone already then.
And Yonti gets a little bit of a slide actually coming out of that corner, and Jesper might catch him actually here a little bit napping. So will Jesper actually take a place on Yonti? So we'll stay on board with Jesper now, and they can't free to overtake. So we'll see, will he try and make a move? And no, he thinks better of it. But Yonti now actually closes up a little bit into Finn because Finn is struggling a little bit in that first sector. But this is just going to be so close between Yonti and Finn.
Yeah, Mackey's made up a position on Polecat then, but yeah, terrible restart from Yonti. That was Jesper's opportunity, but I think neither of those two really want to chuck it down the inside. But Yonti is already onto the back of the Finn, showing what kind of pace advantage he has if he can just use it in the right places, as he weaves all over trying to get him off the road at the Degners.
just incredible to think that that's at the limit of the grip, and he's looking for the move in the inside, and they go to touch, and that is a horrible accident for them.
Yonti round. This is huge. Contact with Finn then. That Finn pretty much going to the back of the field.
So Finn P8,
leaves Jesper in the lead.
P5.
Now under pressure from Liam.
So can the bridesmaid now become the bride? But
I don't know. He more than anybody will want to shake off that term and that endearment. But yeah, Yonti has already made his way back past Pulu, but this is absolute dreamland for Jesper now.
I mean, that puts Mackie up to P4 as well. So, but I mean, Finn is going to be absolutely livid, and I will not be surprised at the end of this race to see Finn being so livid. That looks so desperate for Yonti to try and make the move. They didn't need to make the move going into that corner. He looked like he had so much more traction, so much more grip. It looks like Beaker now is going to get such a good slipstream onto Liam. So Liam's going to go from first bridesmaid to second bridesmaid, possibly. He tries to keep it on track. And this is great wheel-to-wheel battling now between Beaker and Liam. So will Liam try and stick it in the inside and keep it? He tried a little bit, but has to get a bit of space, and they're still going next to each other. And this is just close. Maku and Liam's Beaker finally gets through. So now it's Beaker versus Jesper, and this is going to hurt Yonti massively with his main championship rival out in the lead with only 2 laps left to go.
Yeah, absolutely. All firm but fair there from Beaker and Liam. And Beaker, from pretty much the back of the grid after his early struggles, is now only under a second away from a race win. And he needs to do something here to either back up the 2 Aston Martins into Yonti to get him back up into some decent points paying positions, or go and challenge Jesper to take a few points off him. But yeah, Liam went from challenging for the lead of the race to back down to third, and now under pressure from his teammate. But he's still hanging on there. He's got some good pace.
Yeah, and will we see team orders possibly? I mean, if Maku's faster, would they say let Maku through? But Liam is not going to let Maku through no matter what if Liam thinks he can get a win. So this is just going to be a straight battle. So Half gets a 3-second time penalty again, unfortunately, and he's 40 seconds off, unfortunately, from the rest of the park. I think he had another incident, but he should be able to pick up at least 2 points for the AlphaTauri team. And I mean, at least if he can get points for the team, that's at least bringing something back from a race where many haven't scored. So that'd be a decent job for Harv at least. But this now then, so sorry, carry on.
No, go on. I was just going to say what I think you were about to say. Beaker getting incredibly close to Jesper now. And with 1 lap to go, can he find a way to do it? There's pressure will be on Jesper now. I think he made a small mistake on that lap, and that's let this whole field go back at them. And Jonty is now onto the back of the Aston Martins then. So these next 15 or 16 corners could be such a huge story in the fight for this championship.
I mean, will we see Baker possibly try and do the same move that Jonty did? I mean, if Baker takes out Jesper, that is going to be... I mean, unintentionally, of course. I'm not suggesting he's going to do it on purpose. But
No,
if he did
no.
and put Jonty back in a championship position with only 3 races left, it's just... I mean, they've got to keep it clean, of course. And we know Baker is a very clean driver, so he just wants to get this win. But will he try and look for the inside? No, he thinks better of it. This is what Jonty should have done with Finn, which is try and wait for the better drive, get past Spoon, and try and make the move happen into 130R or the chicane afterwards. But you just see how much more confident Baker looks compared to Jesper. So this is just nail-biting stuff.
He will.
Oh, Becker's round!
Oh, he's gone! He's
gone! So that frees Liam back up and gives Jesper that little bit more breathing room. And Matthew's now up to a podium.
That's what double Aston Martin podium. I was about to say, Beaker will surely send it into the final chicane here. He's got nothing to lose, but obviously with that in the corner of his mind, caused him to lose the rear end. So it's going to be Jesper and the 2 Aston Martins that come over the line.
And what an absolutely hectic finish then. So Jesper then should come across the line and will take yet another win in the side-by-side racing series. Liam, the bridesmaid, takes P2. Maku P3. Great day in the office for the Aston Martins. Jonty gets back to a P4.
Oh, Finn's had a humongous crash in the background.
Polka P5 then. Pulu P6. Finn P7 did come over the line with a massive crash. Bicker takes P8 then. And Harv should come and take 2 points in P9. What absolutely hectic race. Yeah, that is just summary of the race. Finn will be livid.
He's done everything right. I mean, we'll need to see some angles and that to go to the stewards then, but I mean, it seemed like a half-hearted move from Jonty. Didn't commit to it, at the same time didn't pull out, and at some point Finn was going to have to turn in, but yeah, we'll leave that one to the stewards.
It just seems so clumsy. Jonty didn't need to make that move at all, in that place at all. Especially when he was still ahead of Jesper with his championship rival. It just seems so clumsy. But
well, it's so easy to say from the outside, but as we both know from racing ourselves, it's you see that gap open up, or someone maybe made a slight mistake into the braking, and there's a part of your brain that will always go for it. And unfortunately, yeah, it was the wrong decision. It looks like in that sense, but massive day for Jesper. Huge day for Aston Martin. Liam and Maku on the podium then. But still, without that win, Liam, he is... I get the nickname now.
Yeah, we will say as well, Liam got given driver of the day by the game, but obviously we get a vote each. So who is your driver of the day then, Jay?
I'd have to give it to Maku for that one. Massive podium for him. Only his second of the season. And he had great pace early on, but he came back through the field pretty late on there to still get himself on the podium. So I'd have to give it to him.
And do you know what? Yeah, I'm going to agree completely with you. I'm going to give it to Maku as well, because that was just one hell of a drive. At one point to be 10th, but effectively the last, to come back and get a podium. So Maku takes driver of the day then. So Jesper with P1, Liam P2, Maku P3, Jonty P4, Polka 5th, Pulu 6th, Recycle Finn down P7, Bicker 8th, Hart takes P9, and Yoki P10, towards the best of the rest. I need a breather after that. So let's go and get into the interview booth then. And we will then obviously take some interviews, and I will happily let you do the interviews because you are the master of words, not me. So we will happily go and drag... Well, should we go speak to Finn and see if he's calmed down yet? Because I don't know how angry he's going to be.
Yeah, let's start there and see if we can console the poor boy.
Finn. So, I mean, heart goes out to you. That was a great race up until the contact with Jonty. How did that race go up until that contact for you? Finn, are you there?
Say it again.
So, Finn, how did that race go up until the contact with Jonty?
Surprisingly well.
I mean, your strategy was working out there. You held on the mediums. You seemed to have the pace. You had the traction in all the right places, and then unfortunately that fateful incident at the hairpin. I mean, talk us through that if you can, if it's not still too fresh.
I think I was gonna be like instantly overtaken with the DRS, but the last safety car really gave me a chance at the win. But then that happened.
Yep, I'm sure it will be looked at. Is there any comment from your point of view as to what happened, or
Well, he
leave that
already
to the
said sorry,
stewards?
but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it looks a little day late and a dollar short, and sort of not really committing to it, unfortunately. Yonti, probably half a mind on his championship and half of it of that driver's instincts of trying to take a position. But yeah, really, really bad luck for you. You had the pace and the strategy. I think was going to work out there. Just.
I didn't think I was gonna do this well because I feel really sick.
I mean,
barely had
even more
energy to
credit
do
them.
this race.
Well, I mean, that is a fantastic job to still even come and do the race if you're feeling sick. I mean, last week I had food poisoning myself, so I know feeling sick at the moment is not great. So, but I mean, huge congrats for coming to make one hell of a race as well. So hopefully you get well soon, and next week I believe it's Imola, so hopefully you'll go well around there.
Oh man, I really wanted to win this because of the weekend.
I mean, you did everything you could. Those things can happen, and I think it's not in wasn't in your power for the reason that you lost that today. So just feel good about how you did perform.
Yeah.
And
Well, it's disappointing, but whatever.
it gave us some great entertainment. So if that's any consolation, probably not.
Gotta move on.
Yeah, absolutely. Take the positives out of it, and I think the pace you've shown over this season so far, win will be around the corner in one of the final 3 races. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, wish you the best of luck, Finn, and obviously,
Thank you.
without your teammate Ben here today, you did everything you could do, and it was a great race to watch, and great to see you give it all that you could, and obviously, we're sure there's plenty, 3 races left, and I'm sure you'll be able to fight for a win, and hopefully get a win in the next 3 races, so best of luck for next
What
time.
happened to Pika on the last lap?
I believe he span coming out of Spoon, was it?
Yep, so I think he was trying to desperately get the traction down to make sure he had the run on Jesper down towards the final chicane.
I thought
he lost it out of Spain.
I thought my race was over with the drive-through, but the safety car basically saved me.
I don't think anyone's race
again.
was ever truly over during that race.
Yeah, I hated the weather. It was terrible.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing we didn't talk about. We were super confused at the beginning because the track looked soaking wet and everyone came out on dries. I mean, was that how it looked when you were racing, or was it?
It was
did it feel or look dry?
It was not wet enough for the inters, and it stayed like that the entire race.
So it's quite cool tires and a little bit slippy, but never quite enough.
Overtaking was really hard because the dirtier is real. On the wet.
Yes, it definitely is round Stuka. Very high downforce track. So, but anyway, try and keep your chin up with that. Hope you feel better. But take heart out of the performance. Not your fault today.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll see you next time then, Finn. So we're going to jump down and go speak to the Ferrari boys, and we'll make our way down for the rest of the team. So take it easy, Finn, and hope you get well soon.
Yeah. I think we jump in Aston.
Actually, you can go Aston. Yeah, sure.
Isn't that just gee, hello.
Hello, boys. Aston
Hello.
Martin double podium races. I mean, I'll tell you what. We'll start with the bridesmaid then. So, Liam, how on earth did that race go for you?
Well, brilliant. I mean, what is it? P6 to P2? I can't really complain.
I mean, that's probably the first time you're happy to be P2 and be a bridesmaid. But
I'll always be happy to be P2.
I mean, it did look at one point like it wasn't going to be a great day for Aston Martin with the way it was going. I mean, obviously it was a hectic race, and we had no idea in the commentary box what was going on with the weather. It looked like it was going to be a wet start and wet race, and suddenly it's dry tyres, and we couldn't believe it. But just go through that whole race for us and how it went for you.
Well, everyone was on the exact same platform because what's the chances of it raining the entire race, but also dry at the same time? Um,
That mean you had a wet setup on them?
yeah, I did, yeah. I just made one real quick in qualifying, and it worked out. But just kept on track, I
I
can't
mean,
speak.
I'm not surprised off that race. Can we? I mean, you had one opportunity, I think, for the lead very late on there.
Oh yeah, I did, but
Around the outside, but
I think everyone
finally
did.
the curse would be
almost got past Jesper. But it was a bit of weaving from him, but yeah, I'll let it slide.
Yeah, I mean, double podium, you guys can't really complain. And Macu, I think, you're gonna buy any bungees after that because you were up and down that grid completely throughout the day, but it ended up all right in the end.
Yeah, I mean, Christ, it was a stupid race. That was a really weird race because it was just dries all the way through. But then again, just leveled out everyone who had the nicer right foot, to be honest. So, nah, I'm happy with it. Had a bit of a instant where just had a bit too much throttle going up the S's and just nudged the wall. Gave me just ghost damage on the front wing, so had to pit and get that sorted. But really, after that, it was just head down and full encouragement from the team.
Yeah, no, brilliant effort from both of you and double podium.
No wet setup, by the way.
Okay. Well, I'm not sure anyone really knew
I
what
don't
to
know.
be on
I don't know
even
what to
during
call
the
the weather.
race.
I don't even. What was it? I don't know.
Misty.
It was moist. Moist.
Moist.
Yeah,
Yeah,
moist.
it was definitely a moist race, and I will say as well, fortunately, even though the game gave you drive of the day, me and Jay give it to Maku, so Maku takes drive of the day.
We will share
we
it.
discussed it.
No, we'll just take team of the day, all right?
You will get team of the day on the double podium. I mean, that was just an absolutely fantastic job for you both. I mean, next week though, boys, is Imola. So how are you both feeling about that?
Never touched it.
Done a few laps.
Loving the confidence.
So great. That's great. Yeah.
So yeah, another double podium.
1-2.
Mark my words.
I was gonna say it's more luck of the gods, I think, if the last few weeks are anything to go by, so, and just living on your wits.
Redemption, that is, from last week.
That is redemption for Singapore.
Absolutely.
That is redemption for Singapore, man. This one's for Mama.
Crazy last few laps in the right way this time.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I mean, absolutely, we're going to wish you the best of luck for next week. Then, obviously, get a lot of practice on your belt. I'm sure you will. And obviously, I will say that you do have the advantage of having a race engineer, and I mean, a lot of credit does have to go to the way your team actually works as a team. Because it doesn't get mentioned a lot. And, I think it's worth mentioning. Huge. It is great to see the team working together in any way you can. So. It's great to see you getting the rewards that you deserve, and hopefully you do carry on getting the podiums, and that Constructors Championship is looking even better for you. So hopefully next week is more of the same for you.
Thank you so much.
Cheers, man.
No problem. Take it easy, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
In Malaysia. Oh, yo.
Hello.
Yo.
Okay, I'm going to start with Yukia then. So Yukia,
Sure, go ahead.
do you want to go through how your race went for us? How do you want to sum it up?
Well, the beginning wasn't great. Then I figured when people went to Inters, in my opinion, not enough went to Inter because I was still 10th position there. Really crazy race, a lot of safety cars. I loved it though. I mean, very tricky conditions. So what happened in the last part to finalize it was I realized that I wasn't using enough ERS. So when coming after up the straight after Spoon, I used all my ERS or a lot of the ERS up to the corner. So I was going really fast, going full throttle as well, and then the car just plop, just lost it. I smashed it full on the wall. I thought, yeah. Really weird. Was a shame, but I think I'm still qualified, so I got the point. So that's a positive there.
Yeah, we will have to check. We will check because obviously it is something like 90% of the race, so you should still get a point.
Yeah, it was in lap 23. It happened.
Yeah, you should qualify for the point. I mean, I will confirm it with Savso and the rest of the boys, but you should still get the point.
Yeah, really crazy afterwards, from what I saw in still in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it
With the leaders, a lot of still a couple people crashing out as well. It's madhouse.
yeah, absolutely mad race. We couldn't believe the weather. So, but yeah, but I mean, great job trying to get that point. Unfortunately, with the DNF, but
Yeah, that was a shame. There was more in it for sure. I could have ended higher up, but again, I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was a shame that it ended like this, but
I will say though, it does seem that this season is becoming your best season in side by side. I mean, you've got plenty of points, you're having great races, and it's great to see that confidence coming that we didn't see in the last few seasons. So obviously,
Yeah.
with season 6 on the horizon, with some news that's coming
Yeah.
soon, hopefully you go into season 6 with that confidence, and hopefully, who knows, you could be a champion next season.
definitely want to get a little bit closer to the alien mode for sure.
Well, absolutely.
Oh, what I missed before you go, there was this huge moment in turn 1 where I was hamburgered again, and I wanted to pull out, and
Still
I
my
wasn't.
favourite
I
phase,
was.
by the way.
Yeah, I wasn't. I wasn't fast enough to bail out, and the guy on the inside, I think it was Jonte Ibuka, one of the two, just slightly touched my front, and there was a big collision. I'm sorry about that, but yeah, I tried to pull out, but they came too fast. Pun intended, right?
Yeah, there was a joke in there somewhere. Yeah, I didn't want to go there, but
Thank God Yuki did.
That's it for me. Thanks. Thanks for commentating and streaming, guys.
Not a problem at all.
whereas I think it was a tough race for everybody, and there was wheel banging and contacts aplenty, so I shouldn't feel too bad about that. But over the gentleman to put that out there, and off that's but pace was good, and it's just a shame. Rusty,
Yeah.
what happened with you? One of the earlier retirements, unfortunately.
I saw it was raining and I wanted to come in for Inters straight away, so I did that. And then, it being the wrong tire choice, the tires wouldn't heat up, so I couldn't get those heated up. And then I brought them in for mediums again, so the second pit stop within like 2 laps. And then coming out the pits, not out the pits, but going onto the 3rd lap, I spun and took like 20 seconds worth of penalty for like cutting a corner or something. Not sure what happened there. Probably the game bugging out, but couldn't get those tires turned on either. So I was running a few laps and then just spun again, and then just mashed into the barrier. Managed to knock off 2 wheels, which is pretty impressive.
It's always impressive, yeah. Went for the style points. I expect 4 next time. No, don't worry. I shouldn't worry. I think there are a lot of people that were that made that same decision to go in on the Inters, and I wouldn't have liked to have been sitting in one of those cars trying to work out which tyres to go on in those early stages, because what the track was doing and the sky was doing looked completely contrary to the tyres people were on. So just one of those unlucky ones, and one of those strange sort of grey zones with Codemasters weather, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was contemplating for like the full formation lap. I was thinking out loud, and I couldn't make my mind up.
Well, we thought the game had broken. We really did. As the race started, the whole track was wet, the rain was coming down, and everyone was on softs.
Now I've seen this happen before in esport races as well, or PSGL, where this happened, where it was raining and some people went for Inters, others just stayed out, and it could go either way, right? Either you made the wrong choice by staying on the dries, or vice versa. Under these type of conditions, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So
It's really weird, yeah.
it's just one of those strange grey zones. But add some spice to the race. It certainly provided
Yeah,
a
for sure.
one. But unfortunately, some of you on the wrong side of it this time. But good luck for the next one, guys.
Yeah.
Unlucky today, but thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I mean next week is Imola, so you both hopefully will have most of this week to practice it, and hopefully you'll
Really
do
looking
well.
forward to that one. Already did a
You'll
lot of
get my
practice
third
on that
point.
one.
Well, we wish you the best of luck, and hopefully you'll carry on scoring some good points for Ferrari, and hopefully close the season out with some good points, and hopefully end the season on a high.
Yeah. Thanks, and thank you too.
No problem.
Thank
we enjoy
you.
it. So we're going to go join Alfa Romeo, and then we'll go speak to Alpha Tauri. Let's go speak to Polka and Pulu.
Go nuts.
Alfa Romeo!
Hello.
Let's speak to the Rainmaster himself, Polkat, then.
Oh dear! Don't
Obviously.
call me Raymaster.
Obviously, it's a joke on the fact that Pulu is known as the Rainmaster, but obviously, we'll speak of Polecat first then. So, Polecat, how are you going to sum up that race? Because it seemed a little bit, I don't know what the word is actually, but I don't know. I expected more from Alfa Romeo. I expected
What?
I expected a lot more from Polecat.
What?
I love putting the pressure on Polecat.
I hope you're being very cynical, because the fact that I didn't spin and so many others did, like my teammate, so I kept it on the track, and the others didn't. So I was driving consistently, and I guess that just gave me the P5.
Well, some could argue your teammate span and ended up only 4 tenths behind you. So,
Yes, and of course,
Yeah, oh yeah,
and of course,
amazing drive.
And of course,
I
we
would say-
can't forget Pulu last week out in Singapore. Had the expectation and then did the pit stop again for the soft. So was going maximum attack. So
No, but what he didn't tell you was that I called him for that. I told him, "Hey, is it a good idea to pit again?"
No,
Yes,
that's not
I'm going to do that.
That's not
So
true. That's a lie.
my master brain told him that.
yeah, I'm going to side with Pulu. I think you're lying.
That's an actual lie.
I'm going to trust the German this time. Instead
Also,
of lying.
I didn't.
Trusting a German is a very bad idea. We have historical proof for that.
Let's
Hardy.
not get too political on this, shall we? let's not. While Rage isn't here, if Rage is here, fine. He can lead the show. But I'm going to side with Pulu. He's a nice guy and honest. So
I know,
Just
right?
because he tells you that he's a nice guy.
I
am
think
nice.
there's always something a little under the surface with him, so I'm not so sure.
Wow,
But
okay.
we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But I was
Actually
actually
getting-
going to say, I was joking about it. Polecat was a great race in the circumstances, and that's a great result for both of you guys for the team, I would imagine.
Well, definitely, we were very happy with that, because a lot of people that we were fighting in this midfield either didn't show up or crashed. Well, except for Mako, he just pulled this great pace out of nowhere. It's very impressive for if you look at certain other races where he's nowhere, and then here suddenly he could have, if he didn't spin out a couple times, he could have been fighting for that podium. So very
He's
impressive
on the
with him.
podium.
yeah,
He is on the podium.
Matthew is on the podium,
didn't.
so.
I forgot that, but anyway, I did figure out that in the rain forecast in the quali, you could see that the percentages of the weather were constantly the same, like 87%. So I figured either that's just going to be the same, so the weather is going to be the same the whole time. So we thought before the race started, it's going to be a race on intermediate the whole time. But then, on dry weather tires, very, very strange race. We never seen this before.
Yeah,
It was incredibly strange.
it was odd for us. I mean, I literally went through the settings with Safso and with Rage. Said this okay, yep. So nothing was different to the way they do it. It's just Cody's decided, hey, do you know what? We're going to just throw that in the mix. And as we were speaking with them before with the Aston boys, they said, maybe within the Ferrari boys, they said that they'd seen it in PSGL, so it does happen.
Oh.
It's it's something beyond our control. And obviously, I was joking, but it was a great race to see Alfa Romeo score so well, and obviously season 6 on the horizon, and obviously it'd be good to see you end the season on a high with only a few races left to go. But obviously next week then it's going to be Imola. So have you done any practice around Imola yet? Do you think you're going to go well around there?
Nope, I have done 0 laps. Pro has done what? How many?
I've done like 3 or 4 when it came out in time trial. But that's about it.
Okay, dokie.
It's
So
fine. That seems to be a common theme of when asking people about that. So you've got plenty of
I
time.
mean, I think the thing with Pulu is if we were talking about dirt, then he'd be ready for next week.
I'm always ready. I did quite well in Portugal up until I crashed, so
Oof.
I don't know. These new tracks.
Don't talk about Portugal. It's still haunting me.
Portugal.
Thank you.
Portimao.
No worries. I'm here for you, mate.
Yeah,
I guess
so-
the only
sorry.
slight downside to that race was that your main rivals in the constructors were second and third, but not a great scoring round for Red Bull, so you guys will be closer to them. But what's your target for the end of the last 3 races then?
Well, I would say I'd love to keep, if I recall the championship, I'm
two, I
close to
think,
Bika and Marku. Oh no, Marku is below Pulu, so it
Torza,
would be
you're 2 points behind Torza.
Torza. Yeah, it would be nice to beat Torza. Keep Bika behind, but you know he's very quick. If not, crashes a lot, but he's very quick. So that would be nice, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. It will be fine too.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, good luck.
Just having fun.
Yeah, I mean, good luck, for the next week and the rest of the championship. Hopefully you end it on a high. And
I think at the end of the season I will be ahead of Polka.
ooh,
That would be
fighting
very
forward.
impressive because you never did that before in a league race or in a league.
I
Yeah.
mean, it'd be close enough that it's possible. So
I'm only 4 tenths behind you on your favorite track.
I've seen you guys swapping around and giving each other plenty of space, and no after you. So that change maybe is. There's no
I'm definitely going to
constructors
crash
up
him
for
out on
grabs.
the last race.
I mean, if we have to, we'll put Portugal back on the grid, and just get Pooley to be
I'll
ahead of you.
just skip that race next time.
Just to Singapore again. I have my 2 best finishes in SxS are both 2 4th places. I got them both in Singapore. Something about that track.
Great track, mate. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I got points
My
there.
favourite.
It's the first time, so I'm going to praise Singapore forever now.
Yeah,
Maybe
that was an impressive. That was an impressive drive as well. I didn't expect that.
Yeah, you expect me to be not as slow, so I'll take that victory. So best of luck then for the rest of the season. Then mind Portugal and Pooley.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mr. Simp.
No problem. I'm happy to be the simp, and I will take that role to the grave with me. So have a great evening, and we'll see you next week then.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for streaming.
No problem.
See you next week.
See you next week. Right, let's go talk to the AlphaTauri boys, and then we'll wrap it up. So let's go up there. Hello.
Hello.
Okay, let's start with Harv then. So Harv, I believe you got 2 points at the end of that race for coming 9th. An incident-filled race, unfortunately, but overall not too bad because you are still getting points for the team, and it's great to see you getting those points that, luck hasn't always been on your side this season, hasn't been on the side for the AlphaTauri boys, but it's great to see that, it is noticed by myself, Rage, and Saf, so that you are putting the time and effort into it. You want to improve. Your racecraft is getting better. It's coming along. You just need that luck now to catch up. But how did the race go for you?
It was okay at parts, just focusing on keeping the car on the track. It's just one of those things. Not my strongest track, and when it's half dry, half wet, it's just like one of those things. You can't really do much about it.
Yeah, I mean, it does come like a bit of a greasy track, and unfortunately, we've said it before. One of the Ferrari boys have said that it had been seen in PSGL before that it can be a rainy surface, but you still dry tires. We didn't expect it in the commentary box. We checked all the settings before because obviously Rage himself, unfortunately not here due to bowling. He normally sets it, but nothing was different. So do apologise for that glitch or whatever of the game. But it is one of those things to take on the chin, unfortunately. And next week, obviously, we're going to be at Imola. It's a brand new track for the game. It's going to be interesting to see. A lot of drivers haven't had practice on it yet, so obviously, it might not be the best day today for yourself to get a load of points. But going into next week, and I'm you've got the pace. It's great to see you and Jaxie. You belong in SxS. You've got the pace. You've got the commitment, and you've got great sportsmanship. And we want to see you do well, and I believe you'll do well. And going into Imola. I believe that if you put the effort you're putting in should get rewarded at some point, and it will get rewarded. So it's about how you pick yourself up from this race and go into Imola on the high of the confidence. So going into Imola, then are you going to change your approach at all, or do you just think you just need to get your head down and just focus certain aspects differently?
Just get my head down, get some practice in. But what I've seen of Imola so far is it should be a really interesting race, especially if it being a new track. It'll be similar to Portimao, and I had a decent race at Portimao, so I should, if I put in the practice, I should have some decent pace.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have seen throughout the season. There's been times where you've had great pace and there's been a disconnect or a problem and beyond your control, of course. And but it's great to see that pace, and we're always rooting for everyone. We want everyone in the league to do well, and we just want it's just that luck you just need. It is bad luck, unfortunately, but hopefully season 6 is going to be coming out soon. We'll have news on that. And obviously, maybe it's a fresh, new team. Maybe you go into a different car and you get a new environment. And we've seen it with the likes of Maku and Liam. Maku left the Ferrari, goes in the Aston Martin, and double podium today. And it's great to see. So maybe keep your head up, take the experience you get from this season, and come into next season even stronger and on a high.
Yep. Especially back into this season, gaining a bit more confidence. Starting next season, I'll be hoping to be at a decent pace.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That'll be what we want to see. So then go on to your teammate then, Jaxie. Not the most brilliant day in the office. Unfortunately, I'm take the qualifying ban that you should have had last week, but due to rage not remembering it, it didn't play out. So your first lap on track was your first experience on track. And I know there was some complaints with the weather and all that, and we do apologise. We did wait to see if there was a general consensus with the whole grid. If we just needed the restart, unfortunately we can't just restart for 1 or 2 drivers if there's a complaint. But if there's a general consensus, we do. We did check with SAFSO and the league admins. If it seems okay to still carry on. So not the best race today. But moving on then, we've seen, massive improvements from when you first did your first race with side by side to now. There's a lot more commitment, which is great to see with the way you approach your practicing and the way you want to strive to improve yourself and your racecraft. And I do think honestly you will get there with the results you deserve. But it's that approach of the mentality I think that you need to work on a bit more that you'll get. But at the end of the day, keep your head up high because you're doing a great job, and the results will come.
Yeah, thanks. But it's pretty difficult. I haven't finished a race in quite a while, so I've got to try and just keep my head down and focus for these last 2 rounds. And yeah, Imola's an interesting track, new as well, so it's going to be an interesting race, like Harv said. And yeah, hopefully I can just actually finish a race.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you will get that race. That once I'm sure Jay will back me up here. Half of racing is being able to drive the car. Just using wheel pad or whatever. The other half is that mental battle. Once you get that race finish under your belt, it's those little steps. Finish a race. It's the then getting your points. It's then getting the speed, and it's great to see. We have noticed the work you do with Polkat and Pulu and all the flag to flag boys, and all that hard work will pay off eventually. It is coming. Season 6 will come out soon, and you could get, like I said to Harv, you could get a new team. You could still be teammates, but you could get a brand new car. It just looks a bit different. You feel a bit different. There's a bit of a different change. From my personal experience, when we do endurance racing, when I was struggling in an Aston, we changed to a Lexus. I suddenly had pace in a Lexus. I didn't have in an Aston at the same track. So, it can be minor differences. It could be little things like that, and just take the positives out of it for this season. And there's only a few races left, and you keep pushing for as much as you can. But the results will come your way. I am pretty sure. It's great to see you and Harv improving every week, and we are all rooting for everyone here in this. And it's great to see.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult today with the weather and stuff, but I think that's what we need. We just need a fresh start, really. And is season 6 going to be in this game?
Yes,
well?
season 6 I believe is going to be F1 2021 still.
So
that will be this will be the same game. There will be news at some point when we spoke properly. We have had a little conversation behind the scenes with the calendar. There's some announcements coming. There's going to be some cool things with our sponsors and all that. So, but that will all get posted in the Discord when it's confirmed. So, but obviously things like teammates we've got to take into consideration, and the grid and the size of the drivers that want to come, and we've grown quite a bit since we started season 1, so we've got to make sure we accommodate everyone, and it's not an easy thing to do, but we get it done. So, but it's one of them. But we do want to see you come back in season 6. We don't want people to feel like they're not welcome into SxS because they don't feel like things are going too well for them. It's one of them where, you know what, we'd rather have a grid full of nice, clean drivers than someone who's really fast but dirty. So, dirty drivers are just not allowed. That's the only rule really in SxS. Hopefully, you will get rewarded, hopefully in season 6, and even by the end, next week you could go in Imola and you could win it. You just don't know.
Yeah. I just got to focus on next week. Imola, me and Harvey's done a little bit of practice since the things came out, so.
Well, that's a lot more than other drivers we spoke to who haven't even done a lap yet at Imola. So, the only time I've ever drove Imola is on a set of Corsa, so this is going to be new for me to even watch it next week. So, anything to add, Jay?
No, not at all. I mean, you guys had the consistency at the beginning of the season, and that's just what you got to work on going forward. These last 2 races have been stop-start constantly, which is not easy for that. You need to get into rhythm, so, hopefully they can be a bit more relaxed races for the last 2, and you can finish the season off with a high.
Yeah, hope so.
I know so. Don't worry.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep your chin up. You're both doing a great job, and you will get rewarded with it. And it's just slow and steady, and you're making improvements all the time. Even if you don't see it, we notice it, and it will come to you at the end. So keep doing what you're doing. And it's not the easiest, I know, and you're not getting results, or you don't think you're getting results, but me and Jay have been around racing for many years. Jay's been around racing a lot longer, and if Jay says you're doing well, you are doing well. And next season and the next few races, who knows? Go out there and have a bit of fun. That's the main thing, is to have fun.
Yeah, fresh start for the next season as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So take care. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you next week then.
Yep.
You too.
Cheers.
Thank you.
So, right then. So that's going to do us then for that race. That was one hectic race. I mean, how would you sum that up, Jay?
Absolute chaos. I think, there will be complaints of maybe the number of safety cars that we saw in that race, but I think every one that I saw was pretty much warranted by the accidents, and a lot of them coming in Sector 1, which we know is going to be difficult for those curbs. So a massive day of the championship. Obviously, we haven't been able to speak to either of our championship contenders in this one, but the ball very firmly in Jesper's court now, and it's the emphasis is going to be on Yonti to try and pull something out of the bag for the last 2. But yeah, no, really exciting race. But I think hopefully we can just have a bit more of a flowing, calmer race next time out in Imola. Because these safety cars, although they are warranted, just mean that there's a very start-stop random nature to it. So hopefully we can have more of a natural race next time out.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. I couldn't agree with you more. Everyone likes a safety car. It does add a bit of spice to the race. But when there's 4, 5, 6, you don't get the full 50% race. You get a 5-lap break. It seems so. It does ruin the flow of the race, but you still get great entertainment to a point. It's great to see, and hopefully Imola, new track, new playground for the drivers to learn, and it puts all bets off the table. We can't go into it saying, oh, well, Yonti will be the quickest because or Jesper today because of today. So it could be someone brand new comes out. Yuki could come out of there after doing the most practice and be fastest. So I'm looking forward to next week. And I mean, obviously, I'll be here next week anyway in the background if Rage comes back and you're in the commentary box, of course. But where can people catch you then this week, and anything up and coming, of course, anything you want to shout out or announce?
No, I mean, we've got the Fox Sport Fantasy League coming up. Look out for that coming out on my YouTube channel, TBJ Racing, next Sunday. But unfortunately, the sign-ups are now full, if not a little oversubscribed. So unfortunately, nothing for that. But no, just join us again next week for Imola, really.
Yeah. I mean, I will say definitely, even though the sign-ups are full, you do not want to miss this fantasy league. It is going to be one hell of a league, and I am looking forward to it as well. You know, and
Well,
once
we've
again-
extended slightly this evening because we had an extra sign up that we wanted to get in, so there will be 44 cars going for it.
I mean, if you want to see 44 cars in equal cars, aren't they? If I'm correct.
Equal AI, yeah,
Equal AI,
absolutely
that's it, yeah.
equal.
And you want to see hectic racing with TwinBarrelJay doing a great job again with commentary, and it is a cash prize, I believe. Then
Yeah,
make
it's
sure
£100 prize
make
pool
sure
for it.
you go and subscribe to TBJ Racing. You know, and once again, I need to thank you, Jay, for being in the combox, joining me today. You know, it's awesome of you to do that and join us. And you know, hopefully, Rage has enjoyed his night of bowling. You know, I'm sure he's been happy bowling instead of seeing the action on track. But obviously, you can catch me next week on twitch.tv/HardyF1 if I'm about doing something. Probably will be. Probably doing some game night or something if people want to join in. But you can catch us next week, same time, same place, SxS Racing, and hopefully Rage F1 when he's back for round 14 at Imola. I've been HardyF1.
I've been TwinBarrelJay.
Yeah. So we'll catch you next time. Thank you, and we'll see you then.